You're so misunderstood. You only want to socialize, but I don't think we should. Cause these scary skeletons shout sparkling chilly screaming. They'll sleep under our propaganda and just won't leave your beat. Just know they'll pick up on it, so don't let your screw. Spooky scary skeletons will win.
Welcome to another video. I have done one in like a few minutes ago. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do this. This is the seven times that. No, not 11. Walker Boy. That's a great name. Let's hop into this party. Still 1 a.m. for me. Alright, we're here. Let's react to the scary animation. It's almost Halloween. We gotta do this! Scary story. Scary story animated. Boom, baby! That's the name of the title of the video of the thing of the season 2. Before we begin the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Let this video get at least a K likes, like 1,000, a million, something like that. And let's begin that video. I want this video to get at least 2,000.9 thousand views. So let's begin this. Give this a thumbs up, not a thumbs down. Thumbs up, not a thumbs. Let's do this now.
I've never had the best of luck with guys. I appear to have poor taste when it comes to dating. After separating for good from my kid's father after 5 years, I was ready to just be myself. About 3 months of being a single mother, my neighbor approached me stating that a friend of his, Steve,
You want
would
me
like
to go
meet
meet my mother?
It didn't take
Which
long
mother?
before he charmed his way into my life.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
The
I
first 6
have a
months
mother.
were
She's at
amazing.
work.
But he began to drink more and more, and each time he would get extremely agitated. He would start fights with random people, and even some of our friends. Slowly, our friends would stop coming around, knowing how Steve got when he drank. This, however, did not stop him from drinking. But now all the anger was aimed at me. It took roughly 6 to 8 months of buildup, from name-calling and shoving to punching and choking. Suddenly, this became a very abusive relationship. One time, I escaped out of the bathroom window. He later found me by beating up a friend of mine until he told him where I was. Steve began stripping all of my clothes off in a drunken rage while laughing at me and challenging me to go ahead and try to escape while I was naked. The last night of abuse was by far the worst. Before Steve started drinking that night, I told him that my son, 3 years old, was not feeling very well, and I was going to stay with him as he fell asleep. My plan was to spend the night with my son. At around 2:30 in the morning, I heard the bedroom door open. I lied there pretending to be asleep. Several seconds went by. I held my breath as tears began to form in my eyes. When I suddenly felt his hand on top of my head, he grabbed my hair and yanked me out of bed, whispering in my ear, "I know you're avoiding me." Once in the living room, he threw me on the floor, then accused me of trying to leave him and demanded to know why. Before I could answer, he angrily came to the conclusion that it was another man. I swear to God, if I catch you with another man, I'll kill you and him. He was obviously more drunk than normal. He punched and kicked me a couple of times, and I fell to the floor. I started to crawl to my son's room, and he slowly came from behind me, asking,
Yes.
"Where do you think you're going?"
I'm very familiar.
He then walked in front of me, kneeled down,
Bye,
and said,
Felicia. You
"You
did.
stay right there
Bye.
or I'm gonna
Bye,
hurt
Felicia.
you
You did.
real bad." He then sat on the couch and watched me as I sobbed on the floor.
Felicia. Bye.
After about 30 minutes, it
See you
appeared
in
that he
heaven.
passed out on the couch. I decided that this was my chance to escape. I put on an oversized shirt, picked up my son, and slowly crept by him. He suddenly woke up and grabbed my leg and said, "Where are you going?" I stammered out that I was going into the kitchen with my son to get him a
She's
drink.
obviously
He then angrily
lying.
replied, "Hurry up." As soon as I entered the kitchen, I ran out of the front door with no pants on, no shoes, and no purse. I carried my son all the way to the police station, which was thankfully only a few blocks away. After hours, the way the police station is set up is that you go into a room and press a button and talk to someone on the intercom. I ran in and put my back to the wall and pushed the button behind me as I slowly slid down into a sitting position while holding on to my son, waiting for Steve to burst through the door at any second. I remembered thinking if I was going to be beaten, at least it would be on camera. On the speaker, I heard, "How can I help you?" All I could do was cry. I couldn't even get a word out of my mouth. I didn't know how to explain. 2 officers came out to assist me. A female officer took my son and got him some food, and I went with the male officer to make a report, and he gave me a blanket.
One.
After 15 minutes, I heard Steve screaming my name as they brought him down the hallway. I held my breath as if he knew I was behind the door. 30 minutes later, an officer came back with a sergeant. At first, I thought they were going to tell me to go back home and gather my belongings while Steve was being held in custody. Instead, they asked me more questions about his anger issues and if there had been any previous fights. I explained to them Steve's alcohol problem and how he had become increasingly more abusive. They then showed me a list in Steve's handwriting detailing how he would dismember my body in a good spot where I would be buried without being found. He also had possible dates written down with past dates crossed out. I couldn't breathe when I read this, and by this point tears were streaming down my face. I looked at the cop and asked, "What does this mean?" He looked back at me and said, "It means you're lucky." Steve was charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, and assault. I left back home to Arizona before the trial started, but gave a detailed statement before I left. Steve, of course, pled not guilty, but in the end, he received 2 years in prison. Just before I left for Arizona, I received a letter from Steve. It simply read,
Ha,
"It's not over.
You're such a noob.
You'll always be mine."
Noob, bye!